Yo, somebody picked poor and or rich and woke. Who did that? I want to know. Who picked rich and woke? You're a freaking traitor, man. I mean, I get it. I could use the money. I get it. Rather be a full-blown racist. Yeah, I didn't put that as an option because it doesn't really apply. You can be a racist and be based, and a racist and be woke. Racist comes in all shapes, colors, sizes, whatnot. All right, so guys, disclaimer. I'm so disorganized, it's not even funny. I was up really late with my wife at the ER last night. She's fine, she's just got some issues going on, but she's dealing with them, but she's just not doing good. Also, we're gonna be bringing in the 40K Empress to hear her thoughts on some of this stuff from the European perspective. She's all the way over in Bulgaria. And so we will be discussing all this gamergate, goonergate, anti-woke stuff, just kind of how it's all come off the rails, you know. Poor and based, or I'd prefer rich and based. I would prefer rich and based, to be fair. But I don't know that having ethics and morals always leans itself to becoming, wealthy. We'll see. Hey, North Scout, I haven't seen you for a while. We aren't going far enough. Hey, buddy. Wokeness often comes with ignorance and financial literacy. That's not wrong. You're not wrong there. Hang on, let me turn the music down a little bit. I just realized it probably sounds like I'm yelling over the top of the music. She's got medication, Ryan. It's just taking forever. Yeah, thanks, Radical Greek. She'll be fine. It's just one of those, it's just taking its time. Yes, I just got that video recorded 20 minutes ago. And truth be told, I was going to record that same video yesterday. So now I'm not sure exactly how well it will do in the algorithm and whatnot. Being being late and behind on everything doesn't bode well for the already finicky YouTube algorithm the way that it is. Thanks, Mara. Yeah, she'll be fine. It's just dealing with some stuff right now. But she will be okay. So what we're gonna do is very soon here, I'm gonna try to bring in 40K Empress. She is over on the other side of the planet, so it is actually morning where she is. What do I have here? Is this all my stuff? This is all my stuff. Oh boy. Then bring this up so I can review that. Oh yeah, guys, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Crap ton. Although I see poor and based is starting to take the lead. All right, there we go. No, to be fair, I don't blame anybody for that impulse to sell their soul to make a buck, but you do have to live with that. So always much respect to those who don't. I mean, I never had the opportunity. Nobody wanted mine. But yeah, so we're going to kind of just touch on some of this craziness around particularly Split Fiction, this couch co-op game that came out recently, which is doing really well. As far as numbers go, they've already sold 2 million copies. The game is doing exceptionally well. It's kind of a game that people have been looking for. And again, it's not one that's on my radar because it's just not something I play. However, the discourse around it from both sides has gotten really retarded. Like, I can't even begin to explain my thoughts on this. Like, I was in my video, Mari's probably talking about, there's an article from The Gamer complaining about the game being too much like a video game. It's like, you just can't please everybody. Reputation and wealth is undetachable in Japan. Oh, well, that's good. Although, over here, I mean, I tend to think that most people who get famous in the US have no morals or soul. So there's that. I mean, for a long time, people believed that in order to get famous, you had to literally sell your soul. Public watch and gossip big time for tiny, tiny mistakes. Oof. Rather unforgiving. That I don't want to say something and offend, because I know that that's more of a societal thing. But the first thing that popped in my brain was kind of like a social credit score thing, which I know is much more of a Chinese communist thing. And there are ways of having a good sense of, civic duty and all that without having the government rat people out for them. That's the difference there. I think Japan, it's much more that homogenous society of people who all have the like-minded care for their society versus the CCP saying, okay, yeah, you did this one thing one time, your next 3 generations are going to be screwed, basically. Yeah, so clearly a difference there. All right, so in speaking about bringing in Empress as a co-host for the stream, it is going to take me a minute once she's ready to figure out how to do this, because I've never done this through Streamlabs before. So this will be the first time for me, first time for the stream. And if it goes well, then I will try in the future to figure out bringing on other people as well. I know that Mr. Hardcore Mode has mentioned wanting to do something together as well. So we will see if this bodes well for the stream. All right, she says she's getting ready right now. It's like not even 7 o'clock in the morning there. So big shout out to her for hanging with us. I'm gonna tell her to take her time. We can start talking about some of this stuff. All right, yeah, so guys, I am a little tired today, not gonna lie. Brain is a little, a little messy, but we're gonna try to push through as we can. All right, let me grab one of these real quick. Well, to be fair, I don't want to jump into too many of these topics until she's ready, because a lot of it all connects together. Boomer Tech, you know, man, I don't know if we're gonna be Boomer Tech. I don't know. I think I know what I'm doing. I believe I know what I'm doing. I'm 90% confident that I know what I'm doing. She is in Bulgaria. Hey, Mahendra, we are going to be discussing the current state of retardation. That is the anti-woke discourse going on online. Basically, people deciding that they are going to be the arbiters of what is and is not woke, and having within their own worldview definite flaws, on top of some stuff where basically people have had enough of a few big heavy hitters in the online gaming discourse space. Grum's being one of them. And this is not a shit on Grum stream. There are plenty of people whose entire identity is to shit on Grums, but there are definite question marks. One of these things, by the way, I'm drinking chamomile tea, guys, and this is terrible. Yeah, Mari, you should be proud. I decided for my evening tea, instead of going for another like a cup of black coffee or coffee with cream or whatnot, I've got chamomile tea with honey, and it tastes awful. Well, I've never been to Bulgaria, but that's not a surprise. I've never been anywhere. Yeah, this chamomile tea, I just can't. Like, I let it cool down, and now it just tastes like lukewarm grass. I don't. It's kind of minty. I don't know. Real quick though, guys. Let me see. Let me switch to my giant face cam so I can do some shit here. Hang on. And again, disclaimer. If anybody in this stream tonight gets brought up or mentioned that you have personal affinity for or affection for, I'm not here to trash or tear down anybody. That is not the point of what we're doing here. Like I've said, there are plenty of people who do that shit 24/7, who have their only personality is to like pick one target and go on and on and on and on and on about it. So that's not what we're here to talk about. This is, I jumped into 40K Empress's stream a couple days ago, and she was streaming talking about, I think she was talking about Split Fiction and Yorch, and the reaction to some of the anti-woke dialogue going on about it. And so her and I were talking, and it's kind of sparked this conversation of, there's a lot of confusion as to what constitutes woke versus anti-woke, right? Reddit stock market's going down and Reddit on damage control. Dude, I've seen a lot of stuff going on with Reddit. Absolutely insane. Chamomile, not Japanese. Better for stomachache. Well, I don't have a stomachache tonight. I just decided I wasn't going to do anything caffeinated past like 8 o'clock. So I had a cup of black tea earlier. And then I'm like, all right, not going to do coffee, not going to do any more tea. So here we are with chamomile tea. And I am not loving it, like at all. Holy crap. Yes, Smeg, it is definitely most prevalent on Twitter. And I think, Smeg, I'm pretty sure you said that you're not on Twitter, right? I could be confusing you with somebody else. Goal is matcha. Practice with nibbling grass. I'm worried because that's not the first time you mentioned that now. I'm gonna start thinking that all Japanese people are grass eaters. And I know you guys eat seaweed. I don't know how you do it. I have tried dried seaweed, like as a snack. I think it's like either salted or like lightly salted or whatnot. I can't. I cannot stomach the flavor of seaweed. Yes, Meg, unfortunately, it has to do with the terminally online people who might not actually have the best interest of gaming as a whole at heart. It's just a wide array of people. Oh, well, if you hang around, you're going to see it, unfortunately. I do apologize in advance. My site English dub is almost done. Oh, I saw something about that. Yeah, dude, I will try to play it again at some point. Hang on a second. Since we're not gonna do a stream where I actually play any of these indie games that they send me, let's just check out. There's one of these. Which one is it? Hang on, I saw Kata share it earlier today. Let me find Kata. Because there's this Conan the Barbarian-like game that everybody is going on and on about, some indie game. I want to check it out. We'll find the trailer for it and watch it real quick. It's called Crowned in Steel. There's a demo for it on Steam. Let me bring this up. What is it? Store.steampowered? There we go. Crowned in Steel. And then I'll bring up the screen for you guys to see it. Crowned in Steel. Wonder if it's any good. All right, let me switch screens. Yeah, Remy, you nailed it right there. That is the perfect description for what we have going on right now with Twitter. But it goes beyond that. It goes beyond that, and we'll discuss why. Hang on, let me cut the music. Kill the music. I tell you guys, one of these days, and it probably now won't be until after summer, because summer's my busy season for work. One of these days, we'll get some fun video edits and stuff put together. Just little cuts and all that, but for right now, you gotta deal with my boomer ass. It's bad you tried it? Oh, no! Well, okay. Well, in that case, it's all shot to hell for me because I've played so many bad indie games, you can kind of tell right away when they're not going to be good. Let me get this link for Empress real quick. We are going to share our display capture so she can see what we're talking about. Zab, if you're still here, I'm not going to screw this up. I'm going to get it first try. We're going to get this. Got my microphone, my webcam shared, and my display capture. Copy the link. We're going to send it to her. Okay. When you're ready, here's the link. I know StreamYard is so much easier, but I am sticking with Streamlabs for now, just because I'm a boomer, and I hate change. Change is no bueno. That's the only Spanish I speak. Kind of looks like an asset flip. Honestly, Remy, that's what I'm worried about. What I notice a lot is when you see games like this, not a pro, Mari. Not a pro by any stretch of the imagination. There are people that use StreamYard that have done such a fantastic job where they've got everything set up and ready to go, and they've got all these different tier for like different donation tiers and stuff, where they've got all this stuff set up for these video edits and these pop-ups and stuff. I'm just like, if I can manage to bring in a second person on the stream, that will be considered like, you know, a massive achievement for me. All right, Mahendra, take it easy. Your Elgato capture board is still in the box. Oh, you're just saying adios. I got you. Oh my God, you got me with that one. I thought you were saying adios as in you were leaving. Damn. No, I've said like on the stream on Monday, I can repeat some Spanish phrases, but I don't know a second language. Like beyond German, German was the only one I had. Once she jumps in here, I'm going to exit out of Discord because I hate having Discord open in the background. I don't even know how to turn off those little like beeping sounds every time someone posts something in Discord. It gets really annoying. All right, let's bring up this demo and take a look. Well, that's loud. When's your stream? When do you want to stream, dude? I'm not playing Counter-Strike with you. Not doing it. See, here's my thing about indie games. And this is one of these things. Oh, Mahendra, I'm probably not going to get to playing a game today. Just because we're already starting so late. And by the time that we get done talking about all this other stuff, I'm assuming we're going to run out of time to actually play a game. I didn't plan well enough ahead. We'll play a game on Friday night, though. Of course, if things go sideways and Empress can't join the stream, then I'll just do a quick run through everything we're going to talk about, and then we will try to play a game, potentially. There's room for improvement on this. There's room for improvement on a lot of indie games. So what I was going to say is, when it comes to indie games, I try to be very forgiving, very generous with critiquing them and stuff. Unfortunately, some indie games just look like they were indie, you know? It's like the perfect indie game is the one that doesn't look like an indie game, if that makes sense, right? Better than Sancticide? Holy shit, dude. Sancticide is brutally bad. Like, impossibly bad. Monday night's the only night you're really free? Okay, cool. Yeah, no, we can set something up for one of these Mondays coming up. It'd be kind of nice because Monday I try to have like everything super organized, and that doesn't always work out very well. So sometimes rather than having a bunch of shit lined up to talk about, actually having another, like a co-host would be useful. Yeah, the bar is very low when you're talking about indie games like Sancticide, dude. That thing was a god-awful mess. Merit-making game, however, you can't let it being hard to do cloud your judgment on the quality. Yeah, okay, that reminds me of those people saying you shouldn't be so harsh about video games because you just don't know how hard they are to make. And you go, if you're not a good cook, you shouldn't be in the kitchen. You could say the same thing about some fancy dish. It's like, yes, the right person can make a great dish, but you have to have somebody who knows what they're doing. So just saying because a game's hard to make, you shouldn't have criticism of the game itself, it's asinine. It's a really stupid thing to say, you know? You might give it another try. How long is the demo, man? If it's like an hour, then I'd say sure, but again, I wouldn't have much hope on it being better after the first hour of playing it. Let's see, the beta release was March 12th. That's where the demo came out. Brutal action adventure inspired by heroic fan. Just say it's inspired by Conan. just say Conan. That's what it is. Game includes combat-based action adventure gameplay with depictions of dismemberment. Yeah, lots of dismemberment. More like this: Wukong, Sekiro, Elden Ring, Liza P. No. Probably Combust trying to play CS. I have zero aspirations really getting on that. Good, because I don't think I'm going to be picking up another game anytime soon. That's just not something I'm interested in trying, dude. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to check out indie games, ones that haven't been like highly polished and all that, because once in a while you find a good diamond in the rough. But it's unfortunate because the majority of the indie games that I've gotten keys for or purchased on my own, just not worth playing more than once. 2.7 gig downloads, you'll try it now? Well, let me know if it's any better the second time through. It's, okay, for example, like Starship Troopers Extermination. That is an indie game. And in some aspects, in some parts, it plays like an indie game. But in general, it's really freaking good. It's a very good game for being an indie game. And there's actually a very active player base. I never have a problem finding a match within a couple minutes on that game. It's very funny the Golden Axe was inspired by Conan. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Video games suck. Well, that's kind of a harsh take. Can you elaborate? Are you specific types of games or all games? I mean, you're allowed your opinion, but that's just a really bad opinion. Manor Lords, yes. Manor Lords I tried playing, and it was really rough. For me. Now, the game probably plays better than how I played it. I'm sure I was just having like a really retarded moment for the couple of nights in a row. I was genuinely trying to play it and give it like my best shot. Helldivers is good though. All right, there you go. Did I try the first Berserker? I did not. I did not try that one. Is that one, hang on a second. First Berserker. Since I'm not logged in, I'm assuming there's no hentai games that are gonna pop up and spam me in my face, right? I have that turned off on mine. I'm just never sure about default settings. Oh, you have to put a birthday. Let's just say 1905. I'm old enough, okay? You're bad for being negative. It's all good. It's all good. The first Berserker Kazan. Release date March 27th. Oh, there's a demo for it, okay. Who made this one? Let's watch the trailer for this one. This could be interesting. Hey, Lugia! Stardew Valley, Sea of Stars. Beautiful scenery and story. So ironically, Mari, something that you just described, the problem with that is that most games that are like story and scenery centric are typically made by people who lean towards being woke activists. Unfortunately, it's just kind of the nature of how it goes. Like I was talking about in my last video that I just put on the members only till tomorrow morning, the people that are complaining about split fiction not having enough story, enough about the writing, they're people who don't just want to play a good video game and be like entertained by a video game. They want everything to have cutscenes and everything to have exposition and everything to have like layer on top of layer on top of layer of politics and agenda and all that crap, right? You put 1st of January 2005. I could put an actual like birthday closer to my range, but I'm like, screw it. I'm just gonna throw something on there. Reminds me of Rurouni Kenshin if buff. Woke activist likes guitar. We got like lizard people. Dude, that's a lot of blood. That is a lot of blood. Oh yeah, no input lag at all. Right, good trailer. Where's the gameplay? You know, 100%. That's one of those things where it's like anybody can make a nice cinematic trailer, but where is the gameplay, you know? Protagonist reminds me of Papa Nier from Nier Replicate. See, you're talking to somebody who, again, fake gamer here, I never played the Nier games. They're on my list. They're on my list of games I'll get to eventually. I figure what's going to happen is when Stellar Blade comes out on PC, we're going to have to play through Stellar Blade. And then after we finish Stellar Blade, we'll have to go and start, like, go back to, like, play Nier Automata or whatever. Currently playing the demo right now. Yeah, I mean, hell, I'll download the demo. I don't have a reason not to. I mean, I love the art style. Stylistically, it looks really cool. Super brutal, though. Love the scenery. I know less than nothing, though, about the story. So I have no idea, story-wise, if it's something I'm going to be, like, super into or not. But, you know, it looks really cool. Oh, Publisher Next on, there you go. I'm like, it almost kind of has like a Chinese vibe to it, or, you know, definitely Asian inspired, and it's like, yeah. Although, hang on, Nexon, they're Korean, right? Oh, dude, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I'm really hoping that I'm not disappointed with Stellar Blade when I actually finally play it, because I know a lot of people have said the game is fine, but it's not as amazing as everyone made it out to be. It was more the fact that the game itself had like an attractive main character, and plenty of jiggle physics and cool combat. Anime style, it kind of seems like that way. Now, is this an actual gameplay trailer here? Korean, okay, yeah. Oh, see, that's cool. Boobs. The man doesn't have boobs. I didn't see boobs in this game. Oh, Stellar Blade, yeah. You're ready for me to play Spider-Man after 5 years and stop after a couple hours? Dude, okay. So my kids have a Steam account on their computer, and it's a Souls-like, okay. And so eventually what's going to happen is, because you can share games, for Steam accounts within your same household, right? And so they're probably going to end up downloading like Hogwarts Legacy and Spider-Man and all these other games that I have that I've never gotten around to playing, and beat them all before I even get a chance to install them. Dark Souls ripoff? See, if it's closer to Wukong, that's cool. If it's closer to games like Wo Long, I got so bored playing Wo Long. And I gave that game a chance. I played through I want to say 15, 20 hours or so of the game on stream and off a couple years ago when it came out. And Wo Long, something about the game just didn't resonate with me. I don't know if it was just not caring about the characters, the story, the boss fights, I don't know. Very much like an actual Dark Souls type game. All right, 40K Empress says she is on the way. We'll see if this actually works. I might have to adjust the size of her camera. Hopefully audio doesn't become an issue. You guys will have to let me know when she gets here if it's too loud or too quiet. Kids should start with NES, Sega Genesis. My kids play some of the old games too. Okay. More like Boolong. No, the game was fine. I imagine the game probably has a decent player base, or at least the thing was it came out on Game Pass. So what I've noticed about games that launch on Game Pass is you just don't necessarily, unless the game's really, really good. If it's a really good game on Game Pass, then that's like a massive win, right? That's a huge W. The problem with Game Pass, though, is there are ways to get it so cheap that it's affordable and not really something you think about as far as being an actual cost out of your pocket, right? Cheaper than Netflix or Hulu or whatnot. And so if the game is just kind of mediocre, you just don't care to finish it. There are so many games that I have checked out on Game Pass, kind of like indie games that I get sent and they're just terrible, that you play once or twice and you just kind of call it quits on it, You just kind of crap out on it. Good Game Pass games are exceptionally rare. Even the games that are day one launch games, which is why I'm looking forward to Doom of the Dark Ages. Even as somebody who's not the biggest Doom fan ever, I've played 3 or 4 of the games. It's still not my favorite franchise, but it's fine. It's a good game, good franchise, whatever. I'm really looking forward to Doom the Dark Ages. I think that is a huge, huge day one launch. It's going to be massive. I don't think I ever played Felix the Cat. But no, the NES did have some fantastic games. Good memories. I used to have an NES. I still have about 7 or 8 of my NES cartridges. I still have my original Legend of Zelda Gold cartridge. I got the Mario Duck Hunt Triathlon one that used the power pad and all that. You've never played a Doom game and you're gonna get Dark Ages? Dude, Dark Ages looks freaking sick. It looks incredibly fun. So for me personally, that's it's a no-brainer. It's on Game Pass. I'll stream it, we'll play it. Oh, Game Pass is a huge, huge negative for Xbox. Don't get me wrong. It's great for affordability for gamers. It's bad for the video game market, and it's terrible for Xbox. I've said before, Game Pass is kind of a double-edged sword. while we benefit from it as gamers who don't want to have to spend a shitload of money on buying games day one, especially if they're bad, it gives you access to a bunch of games you might not want to play. And on the flip side, it gives you access to, you know, games that they're going to dilute the pool with, essentially, you know, because they can just throw them out there and say, well, if it fails, it fails. We don't care. You're not answering that. That's okay, Susano. Most of my polls that I put out there are kind of bait anyways, so it's all good. Hopefully we'll see in a minute if this link that I sent 40k Empress works. Really hoping, got my fingers both crossed right here, although I got my hands under my arms because it's actually really freaking cold tonight. One of my kids had baseball practice. Says she is here. Let me see if I did this properly. Hang on one second. Might have to do a little bit of troubleshooting on the fly, guys. Let me see if I can actually hear her. You can see me and all that? Okay, cool. I cannot see you yet. That's what's killing the Xbox console. That there, you got no question there. It's definitely having a massive effect. Oh, cool. I got her. Okay, she's currently in the background. I see you. We're good to go. There we go. Although I see two of you now. Which one should I get rid of?
I'm not sure. I'm only one here.
Hey guys, are you seeing her twice or am I? Or are you only seeing her once?
Let me check the stream myself.
See, I put you in the bottom left corner, but it's showing you in my stream, like on my Streamlabs in the top left as well.
I'm gonna click on the stream to see what I see.
Okay, they see two Empresses. Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just gonna hide this one.
Oh, yes.
Let me hide this one. There we go. So we've got one. Can we still hear her?
I think.
Perfect, I hear you. All right. Well, hey, welcome in. Glad you could make it. How are you doing as far as not being too exhausted? I know it's pretty early over there.
Yeah, it's 7 and something. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna do it. My puppies had another idea of playing with them, but I managed to like soothe them down so we can do this.
That's okay. My dog is kind of the same way. Every night that I'm streaming, about half an hour before I wrap things up, he comes over and just kind of jumps in my lap. He's like, all right, time to go to bed. So they usually kind of have a mind of their own.
Absolutely, yeah. They're just wondering what the heck I'm doing.
Exactly. So, hey, I'm glad you could make it. We were talking on your stream, just kind of chatting about everything going on within the quote-unquote anti-woke space, and of course, everything with bad actors and grums, and just in general, a lot of things that have kind of gone off the rails, I would say. Things that have escalated beyond what's reasonable. And so, real quick, before we get going on all this, go ahead and tell people who you are, and share your YouTube channel name and all that so that they can go follow you on there.
Okay, guys, so I'm the 40k Empress, and I also have sorry, puppies. I also have another channel that's G Hammer Empress, which is about gaming. The 40k is about Warhammer 40k, obviously. And in time, because a lot of the woke stuff got into 40k, that was when I started talking about those things and starting calling them out, because they actually, you know, even tried to poison 40k. So, and
Right.
Jonas Trent as well, and John Delarose, and even Endymion, they all got into it, and even Arch, the former Arch Warhammer, now Arch Cast. So they're all like doing this in Warhammer. I'm like, what is happening?
Right.
So yeah.
So guys, real quick, I see that I've got 2 audio lines for her. Are we getting echo on her? Do I need to just go ahead and mute one of these? Just let me know. So if that's bothering you guys, I can do that. But yeah, no. So here's the thing about that. And this is one of these things that I've kind of discovered over the time that I've been covering a lot of this stuff the last year or so, is a lot of us who are more into video games. And of course, we all have a basic awareness of what's going on in the world, politically, all that kind of stuff, right? It's one of those things where it's like all of a sudden, a lot of us were made aware of what was going on in the tabletop scene, as well as other avenues of entertainment, right? So it's like, okay, well, they're changing this in Warhammer, they're changing this in Space Marines, they're changing this and everything else. So it was a naturally easy thing to gravitate towards when it came to talking about DEI and wokeness, but unfortunately, a lot of times, unless you actually research the topic you're going to talk about, you kind of come from a place of ignorance, if that makes sense. And it, for me personally, like I have zero experience with Warhammer, with tabletop games. It's something I've covered from researching, but not something that I've actually done myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Raise her volume, I can do that.
Yeah, I'm muting my mic while you're talking so you don't hear 500 puppies barking in the
I
background.
appreciate that. Thank you. You're awesome. No worries.
Yeah, gotta mute and unmute myself from time to time. Yeah, I mean, Endymion also talked about Warhammer without knowing a single thing. And then when things started really escalating about all of that Amazon show and Henry Cavill, and he just started literally pushing ridiculous notions as facts. And even if they're not ridiculous, he just like said so many times repeatedly, like it's going to die, there's going to be a female emperor of mankind that's also going to be black and lesbian and transgender or whatever. And I'm like, what? I mean, hold on, man. Like,
yeah,
what
no,
are regrets?
that's one that I've seen making the rounds. I believe the channel is Andy Pants Gaming. So also, while you're muted, if you have the ability to raise your volume a little bit, I think I've raised you as much as I can on my end. Let me double check. Yeah, I've got your volume set at 100, so you're not too loud for them.
Oh, I can actually set it up. Like,
there you go.
How is it now?
There you go. You're good.
Awesome.
Yeah. So basically, I've seen a lot of that. In fact, I kind of mentioned that. So when Endymion covered a lot of the stuff with, let's say, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, as somebody who was trying to be more objective about it and point out where there were criticisms of, like, legitimate criticisms of things they did in the game, things that we saw with our own two eyes, like, wait a second, the game director's being an ass and he's attacking people, that's a bad look. And then when it was like just running with information that was completely asinine and false, it was one of those situations where it's like, it's one thing to report on things that are potentially going to come true or things that we can all speculate, but then when you run with intentionally like bad information, it's a really bad look. So
yeah, it's just how you phrase it. And they just all went out and did absolutely the same thing. And I called out Endymion like at least a few times. I made some videos like showing exactly what he's saying and why this is not okay, because it's literally extremely manipulative. And then people believe that, and they also, write in the comments the same stuff, like repeating the same things, just like sheep who do. I'm like,
well, it's unfortunate because a lot of what from my perspective of it, from a lot of what the anti-woke and the Gamergate 2 side of things, as they've called it, was trying to get rid of was kind of like the hive mind effect, where you had to all agree on the same thing. You had to all have the same mindset. And I feel like now the reason that we have to talk about it is because we are seeing people collectivize to where now you have to have the same opinion. You have to call this game woke. You have to have the same view of everything, or you're going to be considered woke yourself. And that's something we'll get into in a few minutes here, because some of these, again, what I would say bad actors have been labeling people like myself as being like, for example, I went on Smash JT's stream like a month ago. Only time I've ever been on his stream. He invited me. I was like, okay, sure, I'll jump on. And so, of course, he asked me about my involvement with Fandom Pulse, because I'd written for Fandom Pulse off and on for like a year. And because of that, because of my being honest about my opinion on everything, I got a DM flood from John De La Rose where he was like, you're tying yourself to SJWs and those guys are all woke, and why are you attacking us? We're on the same side. And I thought we all had the same. It's like, no, we can all have different opinions. We're all allowed to have, different mindsets about different things. That's okay. You're allowed to disagree on things. But unfortunately, it's like he started calling people that were not on his side actual like groomers and pedophile defenders, and it's like, dude, this has gone beyond anything where I'm gonna even like try to defend myself. I'm just done. So
it seems like he's delusional. I mean, at one point I thought he's either like doing this on purpose or he's aware of actual reality. And the other question was, but is he actually believing these stuff? Because maybe this is like a cult mindset that, you know, him and the others, like Trent, they just have this. I don't know. I mean, it's like a religion type of
It's it's really
thinking.
tough. But well, okay, so religion is part of it, and I say that as somebody who, while I was raised Protestant and John Trent and John Del Rose are Catholic, I only think religion is a piece of it because part of it's political, part of it's religious. Um, Part of it is it's good for views and monetization. And John, he's been around a long time. He knows a lot about like web analytics and how to get clicks on articles. I mean, I don't know if you know, John Del Rose has been part of Bounding into Comics and That Park Place. So he's been involved with both. So is John Trent. And so a lot of the, what we would call clickbait on Twitter, the monetization stuff where they're just trying to get views on and impressions on their tweets, is done because it's good for views. So that makes you wonder how much of it is genuine and how much of it is not.
Exactly, yeah, that's my point. But if he's talking like that, to you, it's really weird. I mean, is he like putting a facade, or he's really this way?
My opinion of it was that it was all basically, if narcissistic personality disorder, where he had to have control of the situation. And I've seen this time and time again with different people. It just happens. So
Well, that's really sad.
so I kind of wanted to do a real quick recap. Because this all started just a few months ago. Like, if you remember, I don't know if you remember playing the whole goonergate situation, as they called it, a couple months ago.
What was that about?
So basically, the game The First Descendant, are you aware of it?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So one of these YouTubers, he's a really nice guy, and this is, again, I am not trying to attack anybody in this stream. Like I've said before, I just want to have a nice open conversation about it. So he goes by Dread Roberts, and that was his YouTube channel. And he was growing at a rate faster than mine by like double. Dread was doing fantastic with his YouTube videos. He was doing a lot of like really good deep dives. And then he had to move. He had to move like internationally. He moved from the United States to Korea, so he kind of put his YouTube channel on hold. Very outspoken religious person, okay? So he kind of came from a perspective of the right-wing Christian moral perspective on a lot of topics. But again, it never really seeped into his videos. It was just like that was the background of his personality. So he kind of kicked up a fuss about The First Descendant because Pirate Nation shared this tweet, "Is this what gamers want?" And it's a girl kind of like wiggling her butt back and forth. And so he put out this tweet that I think was taken a little out of context, but it definitely looked like he was saying we shouldn't have any of this in video games. It was basically interpreted as a call for censorship by a lot of people. And so this kind of split people into the, I'm okay with it existing, but I don't really care, because I don't personally care if it exists or not. I just don't think The First Descendant's a very good game. I played it. It's kind of boring.
Yeah,
but
me too.
exactly. So it turned into the, we need to get rid of all stuff like this in games because it's pornography crowd with Razor Fist and Melanie Mack, John Del Rose, John Trent, and Dread Roberts, and basically everybody else. And that right there is what started that schism between the anti-woke movement.
Well,
yeah. So
I don't know where objectivity went. I mean, I can tell you one thing. I mean, I come from Bulgaria. Bulgaria is like regular Christian, one of the first countries to ever be Christian, so to speak, in history. That's a long story. Never mind that. But we are not dogmatic about anything. So, I mean, nobody will say, "Hey, there's a butt here." Like, nobody cares. There's
yeah.
a butt. It's great. There's boobies. Okay, fine. There's some physics jiggling. Fine. It's all fine. But also, the other thing is that you have to know about how I'm approaching things as well. When I think about all of that, is that I'm super direct. So basically, exactly, I'm just going to say whatever I'm thinking.
Exactly. And I think most people would resonate with that. And somebody points out here in the chat that there's no anti-woke movement. It skews the whole thing to portray it as two equivalent sides, whereas woke is a movement. And then there's the backlash against it. And I think that that's a very good point, because that was what it started off as. When I first started covering a lot of this stuff on my YouTube channel, my growth was much smaller than other channels. And at this point now it's kind of stagnated because just all these conflicts that have arisen. But I never considered myself part of a movement like, oh yeah, we're all on the same side, we're all of the same mind. It was one of those, okay, there are a lot of content creators with different perspectives all saying the same thing. Clearly, the majority doesn't want this. And I always kind of felt like I was on my own, like on a little bubble on an island. Everyone's like, oh, you should go on Hypnotic's channel. Well, he never invited me. You should go on Side Scrollers, and he didn't invite me. It's like, guys, I'm not like in these guys' DMs 24/7. We're not all in the same club. There was a lot of different personalities that were all doing their own thing. But yeah, it did resemble a movement, absolutely. But I think, unfortunately, the fact that we've all been collectivized to where we're supposed to all have the same mindset is what's really ruined it, personally.
Yeah, actually, I mean, from where I come from, this is a bit ridiculous to have the same mindset and to jump on the bandwagon, and all those things are just objectively stupid.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you either assess the situation the way that it is, like case by case basis, or you're just adopting this sheep mindset, because you really are. I mean, if you're on one extreme or another, or the other, whatever, you are opening yourself to making wrong decisions and, you know, going by emotion and never going by logic and reason and just common sense. So, you know, we shouldn't like lose this sight. And then the woke people are going to have a lot more ammunition to be like, hey, your own side is stupid as well. Like, see this and see that.
Unfortunately, that's what it's turned into, is a lot of these big activist accounts on Twitter have been sharing a lot of content creators who have criticized other people. And then people like John De La Rose runs back to his group chats and he's like, see, this is why we all have to be on the same side. They're making fun of us. And it's like, no, you could just let people have different opinions. And then instead of the infighting, we could all just have different nuanced opinions and we wouldn't have this perceived civil war thing going on. So.
Yeah. And actually, I had to send you, I'm not sure why I forgot, but I had to send you my video about John De La Rose because he actually responded in the comments.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah, I called him out about the Space Marine things, like the game when the game came out. There was an article in that dark place, and I made the video because he made the video and just went on this very ridiculous rant again about different things. I already forgot because that was months ago, but then he wrote in the comments and he wrote something like, well, you're allowed to have your own opinion. I'm not quoting him. It was something along those lines. Right. I'm like, okay. I didn't believe that he's going to ever see that. But I'm like, at least showing to my audience, like, look at how objectivity is lost directly. And that's not okay, because then people are going to think stupid stuff. And actually, I have a friend who is very susceptible to such things. And John De La Rose got him on Facebook, to be his moderator. And this friend is like, hey, Gary, see, this John guy, he's great, he's amazing, and he wants me to be his moderator, and you guys should really get together because you're so anti-woke and he's anti-woke. And I'm like, look now, do you see what I did? Like the videos, like, what are you talking about? This guy is, he's fake, you know, he's not genuine. Have you seen what he's done, how he talks? Are you kidding me? And then he got mad at me and all of those things, but that's another topic. Yeah.
Well, John has a long storied past. If you ever want to do a deep dive, like just go down the rabbit hole, just Google John De La Rose with words like war campaign and oh God, what was the other one? I think part of the sad puppies thing was him. There's a lot. There's a lot there.
I only saw the furry thing and what Savvy like exposed him for, like the identity theft and the furry thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Lugia says we need to focus on the real enemy, progressivism. Yeah, and again, unfortunately, Lugia, the issue is that it seems like a lot of people are saying that the anti-woke creators that aren't calling everything woke are paid activists by EA and Ubisoft. And then you have people saying on the other side that John De La Rose is a paid psyop to make anti-woke look bad. I'm like, I think both people are wrong. I think it's just people with really shitty opinions sharing them too often online.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And if we don't say something about it when we see it, then we are just, we are just like amoebas.
Exactly. And thanks for the 5, Lucia. Appreciate you, dude. Unfortunately, like I said, there's a lot with John De La Rose, and this is not a expose on him. I don't really care. At this point, I'm not even responding to him. I mentioned to you, like, I'm in a group chat that he started a few months ago where he wanted to have, like, his anti-woke Avengers group, right? And so we got Grums in there and Yellow Flash and Yorch and a whole bunch of other people, right? And so I'm like, sure, you can add me. That's cool. And his whole idea was about like people sharing people's posts and Twitter threads to increase algorithmic whatever. So clearly it's working for him and Yorch, but they're the only two practically that ever post in there. And it's like at this point now, ever since I spoke out and I was like, I'm not going to say something is a certain thing if I don't believe it is. I mean, John Trent unfollowed me. John De La Rose still follows me. I don't know why. But
Probably keep your enemies close and then
yeah, exactly. Didn't he pretend to be an erotica writer? No. So Remy, the situation with that, and we can kind of get into that later as well. John De La Rose has been kicked out of conventions. He sued a convention that kicked him out. They settled for less than their lawyer fees. I'm talking, he got nothing out of it. But he won because he got them to settle. That was back in 2018. He was kicked out of a convention. And then he has been removed from Kickstarter. He has been banned from different message boards. He has been removed from different like writers groups. He's been part of Comicsgate. He's been kicked out of Comicsgate. The man makes enemies everywhere he goes. And he would tell you it's because he's the upright, religious, perfect, example of holiness, and that's why nobody can stand him. The reality is he's a very toxic person, which is why he brings toxicity everywhere he goes. And so that's just kind of the nature of that. So the erotica writer thing, no, he used the pen name Daniela Acera because he needed to have a different name on Kickstarter because he wasn't allowed on Kickstarter. That's why that name originated. So again, skirting the rules of Kickstarter so he could put his book out there.
Yeah, well, there's another thing. I mean, using religion to push different types of opposing opinion is still very bad. I mean, still you create this narrative that religion is bad and everything is bad. I mean, when you use it to justify your actions or your thinking, then it becomes, again, another manipulative, false narrative.
Right, right.
So also not good.
It's a weapon they use. It's a tool at that point. It's not even something genuine.
Yeah, I mean, show me where in the Bible it says, don't make geophysics.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, that's not something you're going to find per se. So this was another one of these early indicators. And at this point, January 31st, I was still officially willing to write for Fandom Pulse. So I have a website that I have like just all my YouTube links and stuff on. And so I was just starting to put articles on there. And it's like John De La Rose asked me, hey, if you're still going to do that, can you put some articles on ours also? I'm like, hey, can I double up? Okay, cool, no problem. So when you write one, we'll put it on Fandom Pulse as well. So that was just kind of what I was doing. I was getting one out like once a month, whatever. And so this article here was when I was still writing for him. And I saw this and I could not believe what I read. It was about this Doom character. And again, you can objectively say that maybe the face could be a little more feminine, I guess.
Kind of.
But it's also a Doom game. So she's not supposed to be some bombshell. It's demons and Mars and, different like gods, and it's not even supposed to be set, I believe, in our universe, if I'm not mistaken.
This is not like the female custody situation, if you've seen that, where the female custody looks like a huge cat dude. That's totally different.
She's got this big fat neck and like a giant chin, yes.
Yeah, it literally looks like she can eat me for breakfast, Yeah,
exactly. So, and somebody even did this where like I fixed it. And to be fair, yeah, okay, so they could have made a less square jaw and made it a little more petite. But again, you don't know the intent the artist had when they made it. So again, until you have the game in your hands playing it, you're not going to know unless there's anything else that we find out about before the game comes out in May. But this guy Yorch was the only person making a big stink about this on Twitter, and so it just became kind of a whole thing. Fast forward to February, and he put out his first non-binary list. Now, first binary, the opposite of the non-binary. Have you caught on to this whole non-binary thing?
In general, yes. I mean, the whole transgender, non-binary, blue, purple hair stuff, yes.
Okay, so that's why gamers have come up with this term, and I think it's kind of cringe, but whatever, it's fine. Where when they're not going to buy a game, they identify as non-buy, as in buying the game nary. So, okay, so it's a thing now. So now they have this February 2025 binary video game list that he put out, and right away you got Tomb Raider Remastered, which I think there was actually a little bit of controversy about because the people that are doing the remaster might have downsized her a little bit, made her less sexualized. I can't remember what the whole thing was about that. But you get down to here to the Monster Hunter Wilds game. And the funniest thing is this game on its own kind of went counterintuitive to everything gamers were saying they wanted, because it has body type A and B. The armor sets are for both genders. It's not just male armor and female armor. Now you can put the male armor on the girls and the female on the guys. So you would think it'd be something that they would freak out about, right? But here they have it where they don't even know enough about the games that they put this game on their binary list. So again, this was just a thing that kind of kicked off. John Del Rose is like, why does Monster Hunter Wilds allow mustache and beards on female characters? Well, it's because they've always allowed you to have, I guess, different cosmetics where you can swap them out, whatever. But again, contradicting themselves from their own article to something John's posting on Twitter, once again, for clicks. It just shows that there's no authentic opinion. They're just saying whatever they're going to get money out of it.
Yeah, basically, by this point, if they see a woman that they don't find attractive, that's 100% woke, even if she's meant to not be that attractive, just for the sake of the story. Like you say, can't all be like bombshells. That's going to be totally ridiculous also.
It wouldn't make sense given the setting. And I've said this before. I think I said it on Monday. If you go, I get that with Hollywood, and I'm a big believer that in Hollywood we should have genuinely attractive people in leading roles in movies, unless it's Quasimodo in Hunchback of Notre Dame, where you're trying to tell a story through somebody being deformed or unattractive. Then it makes sense. If Danny DeVito is the main actor in a movie, you expect it to be a comedy because he's 4 feet tall and this big around.
Next Wolverine, Danny DeVito.
Yeah, you don't expect to see Danny DeVito in an action film because it would just be comical. So in the same way, I understand how people want their video game characters to be idealized and attractive, but I think to some degree people have kind of lost the plot, because if you go out in public and just look at the average person, especially in the United States, 50% or more of people are either overweight or not very attractive. It's just reality.
Unfortunately, also in England, also in other countries, like here in my country as well, like half of the kids, almost half, like, are fat, and that was never the case when I was a kid. Like, one kid was fat out of the whole class.
Right. And that's actually the same way I was when I was a kid. It was like, yeah, I'm 38, so back in the 80s and 90s growing up, is like every class had like one fat kid, maybe. That was it. So...
that's also in my forte, because I'm a fitness everything person.
Yeah.
But there's some interesting comment here that I saw, that she chewed too much. That's why she had like this jaw. I mean, I also actually exercise my face, so I have a pretty good idea of that. I mean, you can build your face better, to create this line here to be more defined, but you cannot like change your whole shape of the face. You can just emphasize what you already have as a shape. It's the same with muscle, how muscle looks and how it inserts on the bone. It has particular shape. You can't change the shape. You can just make it bigger or smaller.
You can accentuate or emphasize what you already have versus altering it extremely. Yeah.
I mean, you do have a particular shape that's always gonna be set, but you can like make it better. If you notice this guy, Kanao Manjayani, I just can't say his name. That actor, the Indian actor, it was like in
oh yes
that Marvel movie. I mean, he took so many steroids for that to happen, and maybe he also put implants. But the only way that your bone is growing and your muscle, like in this kind of way, so masculine, that is steroids and maybe even implants. Yeah.
Oh, sure. So the next thing that really kind of broke everything personally, and this was in the middle of the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 lead up to the game coming out, and I covered this a lot, the rumor that circulated about whether the game was going to be banned in Saudi Arabia or not. In fact, I was the one that verified that the game is actually banned on PlayStation in Saudi Arabia, but not on Steam. And I still can't figure out why. I have somebody from Saudi Arabia who actually follows me on the YouTube channel here. He sent me some information about it. I still don't understand why the game is banned on PlayStation but not on Steam, but it actually is banned in Saudi Arabia on PlayStation. But furthermore, the rumors sparked a lot of questions about why is it banned? Is it because of certain content? Because Saudi Arabia is very conservative, so what could be the thing behind this? And that's where they eventually had to come out and say that essentially there was a gay character, gay romance option in the game, which I think most people would have been fine with as an option if it wasn't the two characters that had a very strong, good, friendship as two men. It kind of ruins it for me that they took two heterosexual, characters that had a good bond, and you say, well, now you can be gay for each other. It just doesn't make any sense. But because the codex of the game was based on historical people, and history roughly would have put the Hans character around 15 at the time, it created this whole narrative that John Delarose and John Trent, they went after Vavra because John Delarose and Daniel Vavra had this spat on Twitter where, again, Vavra exposed him as having the furry stuff and kind of, made a fool of John. And so, so John Delarose decided to weaponize Fandom Pulse, and they've got like 7 articles in a row that they wrote about this game. And like I've said, people have legitimate criticisms about the game. I accept. And actually, people that are in my Discord, people I know pretty well who've loved the game, the first game, and who were super excited about the second game, have said the second game is a disappointment because of these things they added for whatever reason that just don't jive. They don't make sense. And so I think that there's room for fair criticism, but this was one of the situations where it was purely out of spite and vitriol because John has not stopped talking about this game, even though the game's not even being talked about by anybody else anymore. He just can't let it go. It's one of these things where he just will not let it go for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, I played the game only from the beginning, so, I'm not sure about everything that there is. I mean, I know that there's like one gay scene, that's one black guy and one Muslim guy, and that's pretty much the one what I know about the game that they did. But as you said before in some of your videos, it's about why they did those things. Like the why is like the most important thing, because we did have gay stuff in other RPGs before. This is not new at all, but it is why they did it. So yeah, I watched your conversation with Smash JT. It was great.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate, and it's really funny because I feel like Smash got he got hit pretty hard by his own audience. I think he lost a lot of subscribers, and I did too, to be honest. But it's like I can look at things objectively and say there were bad decisions they made in that second game that they probably should have thought about a little bit better because they just didn't make sense. And so I watched a video from the guy that does all the media like coverage for. So he's the press manager or whatever for Daniel Vavra and Warhorse Studio. He went on a podcast and basically said the reason that they made Hans and Henry gay was because there was so much fan art from the first game by the shippers, the people that want to take 2 characters from a story and put them together, that Daniel Vavra's like, oh, we should do that. And it's like, no, you don't cater to these people. You don't give shippers what they want. You don't do that.
Exactly.
That's...
I have a lot of experience with shipping and shippers because I used to be super involved in Xena Warrior Princess for 500 years. I mean, since I started YouTube first, I started with making music videos about that. That's how I learned editing. So all the things that you can imagine about woke kind of a thinking originated from there. I mean, everyone were, half of the fans were gay, half of the fans were shipping Xena and Gabrielle. They pushed the narrative that because one of the writers is a woman and a lesbian, then Xena and Gabrielle are lesbian. Then the actors started kissing their asses, like Lucy Lawless and Renee O'Connor, who plays Xena and Gabrielle, started kissing their asses for years, and that is how it continued. So it ended up, fast forward to today, this is still continuing. They're shipping them, they're making 500 tons of art about how they're doing it. It is like a hentai thing by this point almost. It's that bad to a point. And Lucy Lawless became a crazy activist, unfortunately for me and my fan disappointment.
Right.
And, Kemi Sorbo, that was Hercules. They used to be really good friends, but now he is on the right side and she is extremely on the left side, and they became like fierce enemies on Twitter and all those things. Just like escalated. Everything's connected.
Right. And that's always unfortunate too, because it used to be like, okay, I don't want to know my actors' politics. And then it turned into, well, I assume all actors are Democrats or liberals. So it's kind of nice when you hear that one's more conservative or right wing or based or just normal, for lack of a better word. Now it's back to the point where it's like, well, it seems like we no longer care about whether or not they're political. We just want to know that more of them are on our side. And I'm like, what about just going back to not knowing your actors' politics? I mean, that'd be kind of nice, you know?
Where is that? I mean, it started kind of like with Gina Carano before. In the mainstream, it started with that. But I was aware of Lucy's stupid things like for a while. But yeah, Gina Carano things, her her being fired from Disney, all those things, and I started talking about those things at that point. I'm like, hey, can you not just enter the political realm and just talk about stuff that you don't truly understand? Like, why is all the actors all of a sudden start being involved in all the political things ever and just spewing nonsense out of their asses? And
well, it was unfortunately, we've talked a lot about like the pendulum swinging because everything has been so far left for so long that when the pendulum swings back right and all of a sudden it's more popular or it's acceptable to be open about right-wing beliefs or politics or, whatever, that you're going to hear more people come out of the, the woodwork, the proverbial closet and say, hey, you know what? I don't think we should let children do gender transitions at 13 years old. I don't think that we should, open up our borders to everybody. So
wild ideas, such a wild ideas.
I know, right? So it's unfortunately like
is wild.
While it is kind of nice to hear people who are famous or celebrities actually share these opinions, at the same time, it kind of opens the proverbial door to be like, okay, well, now we're never going to have a time where we don't hear a singer, a musician, an actor, an entertainer's opinion. There will be a few who probably never talk about it. But unfortunately, it's going to be one of those things where it's just the norm now, where you're going to know every single actor's opinion on pretty much everything these days, Yeah,
and then next thing you know, you read the news how they fled the country or something.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Rosie O'Donnell, I didn't even catch that she fled to Ireland. Apparently, Rosie O'Donnell is no longer in the United States. So I want to hear your opinion on this because somebody shared this meme back when I was still responding to Daniel Vavra about some of this criticism. And I think that I saved it because I thought it was a very good description of woke. It might not cover everything, but getting into the conversation about what makes a video game woke or what makes entertainment woke. This here says, what does woke mean? It's an aggressive push for intersectional Marxism beyond class struggle to include race, gender, sexual struggle, and a near infinite number of marginalized groups. Non-woke people, media, or spaces must be fixed with violence, propaganda, regulations, financial, as in ESG, or ideological capture of institutions at the cost of facts, quality, morals, or customers. Supporters will accuse critics with emotionally charged labels of ists, isms, phobic, or phobia to avoid defending their views. And I think that pretty well sums up the best definition that we could have of woke in modern terms,
Let me think about it for a second. So an aggressive push for intersectional Marxism beyond class. Oh my gosh.
It's a lot of words.
Yeah. I would, that's just a great topic for us to think about, food for thought, that we do have to have defined lines of what is woke, because I also seen people on my channel being like, oh, this is woke or that is woke. And I'm like, wait a second, it's not. I mean, by this point, like in KCD2, just because you have gay doesn't mean that it's woke, but then you do have to investigate the reason why that is there. So it is woke because, let's say, the reason why is there is woke. Just look at the reason.
Yeah, I think that's
a much on purpose for catering to a particular audience, or is it not? I mean, if you're making, let's say, historical thing, yes, like this game is to a point, and there are gays there, and you have to put that in the game because you're compelled to do so. You have to keep on with history. Then it's not woke. It's
right.
not woke. But if you put there because you have to cater to the shippers, then, well, okay, you're not woke, but you're dumb. You shouldn't do that.
Or, I mean, maybe that's even a little bit of woke. How is gay not woke? Okay, here's my view on it. I've said this before. You can have a moral objection to homosexuality, whether it comes from just a societal norm position where you think that you shouldn't be gay because it's not good for society, or if it's a religious thing where you believe it's immoral and wrong. I'm totally perfectly fine to have those opinions. But that doesn't make it woke, because to me, woke is when you're using something as a tool to push an agenda. A person being gay is because they want to be with the same gender, whether you agree with it or not. And again, I personally don't necessarily agree with it, but I don't view it as woke because it's like saying that theft is woke. Well, theft isn't woke, it's a crime. It's immoral, it's wrong, you shouldn't do it, the same as murder. But murder is not woke either. Just because you don't morally agree with something doesn't mean that it's woke, it means that it's bad or that that you shouldn't do it. But woke does have to do with the agenda, again. So
Yeah, I can give you an example from real life. I mean, one of my closest friends has a few gay friends, and they actually hate everything that has to be woke. I mean, that is woke. And the way that the difference is made here is that first they don't like the gay parades. They don't like emphasizing any of this. They don't like making it like a trophy or look at me, I'm gay.
right.
They don't like when they put gay characters in movies just to put gay characters in movies. So they literally don't like the woke approach to things. They don't like to emphasize what they are. They just want to be left alone and live their life in private, like heterosexual people. But not doing it like doing like public displays of affection. They just like to be left alone, and that's it. That's not woke. They just like to be themselves. Now, whether that is how they are is scientifically is proven that if you're gay, you have like different levels of pre. I'm not just forgot how the word was, but basically,
No worries.
when the mother is exposed and testosterone is like in the womb, and you're exposed to that, and then you become gay. If it's different levels, all those things. I mean, there are some scientific things that lead to being gay, but still, that's not even exact, and they still wondering how, because there are a lot of variables talking about the chemistry of the brain. Like some gays are like very manly, and some are very feminine, and how is this happening? And there's a ton of questions from the scientific standpoint, and then
I think
more with
society
something else.
plays a large part. But yes, so again, you're going to have it's a spectrum. You're going to have people that react differently to being gay across the spectrum. And while again, I don't personally want to play a quote unquote gay game, like I've said before, for me, having a gay option in a game doesn't ruin it for me because I can just choose to be straight. So for me right there, that wasn't the problem. But like we've said, I think why they put like the pride parades, like celebrating it, that right there, well, you're trying to push it as a great thing that society should love. And it's like, that's an agenda. If you want to be gay, you're gay. But we shouldn't have a parade to celebrate your sexuality. I think that's where you draw the line as far as like agenda and, again, woke or whatever. So.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have heterosexual parades, so we shouldn't have gay parade. If you want everything to be equal, just don't parade it around literally. I mean, that's more, to me, that is more disrespectful than anything else, just to parade something around like it's, I don't know what. It's just not okay.
Yeah. So again, the problem is we get into this situation where nobody can define the same exact idea behind the term. So it gets to the point where maybe we should just stop using the term woke because it's getting so muddied that nobody can agree on it. And like I said before, John Del Rose, he's been really pushing, trying to compare everything to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, this game that's coming out from Naughty Dog, Intergalactic, The Heretic Prophet, where they intentionally cast a voice actress who is problematic, and then they use her likeness in the role. The role is probably going to be an activist type person. And of course, they're coming out now saying that there's like an anti-religious sentiment in the game itself. So it doesn't surprise me, but he tries to use this as a comparison to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. It's like, but you're not comparing apples to apples, you're comparing apples to oranges. It's just not the same thing again.
We haven't even seen a lot of this game. I mean, this character looks horrible, and I don't want to see horrible looking characters in my games, especially Naughty Dog already did that with The Last of Us 2. I mean,
right.
All the women look like they don't have hips because they don't. And what is this now? I mean, but to like try to turn it and twist it and make it what is not is another thing.
And I understand why people are so like, you get that visceral reaction. When I saw the people sharing the screenshots of Deborah Wilson, the actress in the second Death Stranding game, I'm like, why do they keep putting this same woman, keep putting her same likeness into video games? It just doesn't make any sense because, again, no, you don't have to have, every character doesn't have to be a 10 out of 10 amazing, gorgeous model type person. But you're intentionally casting this person in every single video game possible. And to be honest, she's pretty scary looking. She's not exactly attractive, like at all.
She's not. Yeah, she's not. I mean, she could be a very talented actress, which is all good. But like you say, they just put her like everywhere. It's ridiculous by this point.
Exactly. So this also has turned into a situation where Smash JT, actually, I should have had this over here first. Okay, well, we'll get to it in a second. Yorch Games came out and said, gamers, here's the other thing. I'm sure if you've seen some of these screenshots, this right here, This is that clickbait monetization thing that they do, where everything starts off with gamers, paragraph format, spacing between each line. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And it's just, this is why I have these guys muted, because I don't want their stuff popping up on my timeline, because it's cringe and annoying. So Smash had a video where he talked about this guy because he attacked Split Fiction, which we're going to get to in a second, as being woke, right? And Yorch is like, gamers, I've been losing followers significantly after Smash's video. I don't want any followers who are lukewarm about what is woke and what isn't. I don't want any followers who attack safe to attack games like Assassin's Creed Shadows, but as soon as a game with feminist and woke content gets popular, they go and defend it desperately like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Split Fiction. If you can't handle the truth about what a conservative gamer stands for, unfollow me now. Now again, I didn't think that the entire Gamergate 2 movement and people who are anti-woke was exclusive to people who are conservative, which I am conservative. I am one of those people. But I didn't think it was exclusive to those people. I thought it was about people who wanted good video games that didn't pander to like left-wing extreme radical ideologies.
Yeah, I mean, everything is mega super political by this point. That was never the case before. And I would advise everyone that cannot tell the difference between woke and not woke to just think about like before 2016 and thinking how things actually were. I mean, we had diversity in movies and games. We had occasionally a gay character which was inserted in some kind of a context that made sense. Everything was leveled and with common sense, done with common sense. Just go back before, just watch some other things and you'll understand the differences between woke and not woke.
Exactly. Hey, Susano, I think a big problem is that, just like you said, a lot of these people don't play video games. Going back to John De La Rose, when questioned about it, I think Hypnotic asked him about it weeks ago. He said he basically only plays Mario Kart and games from like before 2002 or something. So he doesn't even play video games. I mean, he spends most of his days on Twitter, making videos, posting tweets, responding to everybody's tweets, and writing books and articles and stuff. So no, he doesn't play video games, which is pretty obvious.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't speak without being down there in the trenches, so to speak.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I've said before, I call myself a fake gamer all the time because I don't have time to play every single game. But I have games within the last couple of years. I've spent hundreds of hours playing individual games, and then I try to check out indie games. Like on Wednesday nights, we'll check out an indie game and try to keep people aware of options that exist. And then Friday night, we stream whatever game I feel like playing. So I try to be active in gaming so we actually have something positive where it's not just complaining about things all the times.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you get to see things for yourself. You get to entertain people and, to have some kind of a stress relief, because at the end of the day, that's what games are supposed to be, stress relief.
Which is why I end up playing the same game over and over and over again, instead of like playing the games that I really want to play. Like I have only played about 12 hours of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And from everything I've seen, again, the questionable parts of it aside, the game is fantastic, but it's so immersive and so long that I find myself jumping onto a game that's easier to just kind of play for an hour and unplug from than getting into a game that I really should be playing, right? So,
yeah, to me, it's too much realism. When I last played it on my stream, we had to make a potion that took 500 hours, like in real life. Like, pick this and pick that, and now do this. And I'm like, what?
The alchemy in that game is incredible, but you have to. So one of the guys that I know pretty well through Discord and through the channel here, he's the one that was really looking forward to playing the game, and something he absolutely loved in the first game was the alchemy. And I didn't even touch alchemy in the first 30 hours I played the first game. I'm like, I didn't want to touch it. And the second game, it's a little bit easier, but you still have to do the basic steps. But yeah, it's still the same way. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah, too much. I've also played Red Dead Redemption 2 at one point, and my horse died because, he almost died. I have to stop and feed him instead of just riding the horse and enjoying the scenery. Like, what the heck? I'm not gonna play this game now.
Right. So Packer Girl points out, she says, hey, Yorch, here's a pro tip. If you have a YouTube channel, talk about my account. Oh, this is something that he said, because he had previously tweeted this out. So he says, this is when Yorch started getting criticism. Here's a pro tip. If you have a YouTube channel, talk about my account and my takes, whether you agree with them or not. Your views and follows will exponentially increase in no time. I love you all. Then he complained about how people talked about him and he lost followers. It's like, it's kind of hypocritical. You have to take, the lumps that you get. And it was all over this video here. Smash only got 25,000 views on this video, and it's been 2 days since he posted it. So this video wasn't anything that's gonna like ruin Yorch's presence online. People don't understand. A lot of these people who viewed this video didn't even watch it. The way YouTube, the way YouTube views work, your average duration is what really matters, because you have a massive amount of fall off from a percentage of your audience where they don't even watch past the first 30 seconds. And so I get that he's criticizing Smash because Smash talked about him and he lost some followers, but it's like, this wasn't even that big of like a hit piece. It was just pointing out that it was a really stupid take, which I think is fair criticism that everybody should be allowed to say.
I mean, what are we supposed to do? Like, just ignore everything, and then people come into our, comment section and literally talking stuff that are completely untrue based on the false narratives that people like Yorch set up.
Right. Oh, Hoarder, the smithing is fantastic in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Once you get to the smithing, I actually was really enjoying that. And you get a little cot that you can sleep on, as well as, I guess in the update that's coming up here, you're going to be able to have your own house in town and open your own blacksmithing shop. So there's the game, here's the thing, I've told people before, if you think a certain game is woke, I 100% am behind you not spending money on it. And that's the thing. It's like, I'm not here to tell you you have to buy this game. The problem is Yorch is the one that's saying, do not buy this game or you must buy this game. It's like, that's not the way this is supposed to work.
Yeah, besides that, when we look at actual numbers of the games and which game is selling, which is not, we can see very clearly that all the woke games that are really woke and really bad just failed, like
Right.
Concord. And all the games that have some kind of a tangible quality to them, like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and now Split Fiction, they're rising to the top because most of what these games are is good, and some part maybe is not that good.
Right. There's a reason I actually had those specific games on the thumbnail, except for Doom, which hasn't come out yet. I saw a post that, again, you have the top 3 games of the year so far. They are Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Split Fiction, and Monster Hunter Wilds. All 3 games that have had some criticism for wokeness, but all 3 games that have done exceptionally well after seeing last year where absolutely woke trash games do not sell. So if you truly believe go woke or get woke, go broke is a thing, then you have to accept that those games have merit beyond whatever you might perceive as wokeness. So
exactly. And before that, it was the scandal about Black Myth Wukong, which is so like unfounded, and the game is so good.
Oh, it's fantastic. But again, that was because they didn't want, I don't know, it's weird because I understand taking the approach of not supporting the CCP. Like if straight up, if the media said, hey guys, this game looks really good, but we think it's bad that you're supporting the Chinese Communist Party. Okay, I could at least take that for what it was, but they weren't even using that as an arguing point. They were just simply saying the game doesn't have enough women. Shame on you, toxic gamers. The game is stupid. The combat's lame. It's like, no, the game is freaking awesome. I just wish I had more time to finish it.
Yeah, I always love when people, some people that are like, let's say, woke men, going and saying, hey, the game doesn't have enough women. And I'm like, hey, a female gamer right here.
Right.
I don't need more women in the game. Thank you.
Well, no,
I'm fine.
And it's like if there were more females in the game, okay, so you're going to encounter and kill more females. That doesn't seem very progressive, but whatever.
Yeah.
So this goes back to, again, the original tweet that Smash covered that he criticized. These are the reasons that Yorch called Split Fiction woke. Now, again, I'm on record saying I don't think either of these character models is gorgeous, but they just look like women. They look like women. They look like 2 women who could be writers, but they look far better than your average modern writer. Like most of your journalists these days look like complete freaks. Oh, excuse me.
They're like, you can say they're pretty. I mean, they're not models, but they're pretty. I mean, that's pretty much enough. I mean, how many times you see photo model men in games, I
Right.
mean,
Well,
it has to be somehow, equal sometimes.
Right. And again, the game is not to focus on their features. A lot of the criticisms I heard about the game is that it just doesn't have that much dialogue, or the dialogue isn't great, the story's kind of whatever, but the gameplay is really fun. Okay, so it's a co-op couch video game. Great. You don't care what the models look like. You want the game to be fun. So he says, uninspiring female protagonist. What he means by this is they're not hot enough. Okay? That's always what he means. And I know that that's a argument that leftists use towards like people who complain about ugly women in games. But in Yorch's case, that's exactly what he means. Because I showed you that meme that he made where he had the Doom girl on the left and the sexualized elf chick on the right. And it's like, this other one doesn't make sense in a Doom setting. It doesn't make any sense, right?
Not at all. Yeah, it's a false comparison.
Yeah, they could be a little better. They absolutely could. But also, a lot of times what happens in these situations is you screenshot the worst possible moments a lot of times, so it does happen that way too. So he says art direction has suffered greatly during the woke era. He's not wrong there. I hate a lot of modern art direction in games. New Western IPs seem to focus on realism instead of creativity, and that's why Split Fiction's character models don't really inspire you to play the game. Feminism at work. Well,
I really don't care. I mean, as long as they look like decent women, the inspiration is the game itself and the game mechanics and what actually you do in the game. They're not exactly my inspiration. I mean, the whole game looks great, so many different levels, and it's so diverse and in the best way possible. I mean, in the levels and what the heck you're doing there, you can play a sausage. So, I mean, this is not my inspiration.
Yeah, you're talking like actual diversity rather than like the tokenized false diversity. Yeah, actual diversity. The emphasis on emotional character development. Now, this is the one that really irritates me. From what I've heard from journalists who covered the game, they don't actually expound on the characters enough. There's not enough of a dialogue between them that actually creates the characters that they really should be, right? But his problem is that they have any emotional character development at all. One of my favorite things in a video game is when I'm playing an action game or a game that's, gritty and dark and it's gory and everything else, but you still have some sort of like emotional connection to the game. So I talk about this a lot. I'll use this same exact clip on Twitter talking about the end of Titanfall 2, where the stupid, a Titan that you're in, he pulls you out of it and throws you to save your life, and he sacrifices himself. And it's like, as a guy, you have this weird connection with this machine, and it's emotional in the game. And it's a machine. But you still have an emotional. That's because of character development. So saying it has.
I play that. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's great. I don't have to be a guy to feel the same thing. So
Okay. So it's a wonderful moment that's kind of gut wrenching, and it's a video game. It's like. So games should all be about fun. Go ahead.
Hit you the same way.
Oh yeah.
I play with guys most of the times in games anyway. I'm gonna make a very big and muscular man and play with that. I prefer to watch that on the screen sometimes rather than a woman on the screen, unless they have some kind of a Xenowar Princess mode and Skyrim before, but actually never got to that by that point. But,
I do the same thing with characters. I don't typically play female characters in games. I usually try to make the biggest, baddest, most like macho guy I can. It's the funniest thing. It's like, and no, I'm not gay. I'm not looking at my character. I just want him to look really cool,
Exactly. I want to feel like powerful and strong and all those things. And in Dragon Age, was it Dragon Age? No, it wasn't Dragon Age. Sorry, Dragon's Dogma.
Yes. Oh, such a weird game, but so good.
Well, I played like a few hours of it, but you can actually make a guy that almost look like a space marine in terms of his physique, like the broadest shoulders possible and the smallest waist possible.
Exactly.
That I can do, so I did that.
I remember playing that game. It felt like I was on acid because it was such a strange game, but it was unlike anything else I had ever played, and it was definitely an experience. It was great. Disgusting, thanks for becoming a member. Appreciate you. So
yeah, he's my friend actually. Hi to you, Disgusting. He also talks about anti-woke stuff and Smash JT once. He invaded his stream. It was awesome, and also I think he donated a lot to him, and also Hypnotic, because my friend is like gathering money for helping homeless animals. So that was just so epic that it just made
that's fantastic. That's awesome.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, see, a lot of people say they play as a man and a woman. Emperor says 95% of the time I make a female to play as. If I'm going to spend hundreds of hours on a game, it's going to be behind some nice assets. And see, like, That's the thing. That's what the whole goonergate thing was. It's like, oh, you're just looking up this character's skirt. You do know it's not a real character, right? It's not a real person. It's a video game character. It's like, it's okay to want to have an attractive looking character to look at in a game. I just prefer to make a really cool looking guy. It's just that simple. So
Yeah, it depends just on the genre of the game. Like when I play Lara Croft Tomb Raider, I love to see Lara on the screen. I don't want to look anyone else. But when I play The Witcher, it's great to play with The Witcher and Ciri actually. But
yeah,
I just enjoy both. It's just a lot about context. What is the game like? Are you making your own character? Are you playing with a set character? Like playing Uncharted, Nathan Drake, just watching him on screen, like God of War, amazing. I mean, you just get into this mindset and you just enjoy what you have in front of you. That's it.
exactly. Got a 4080 and got Black Myth Wukong as a free game. Dude, that is a steal. So when I was potentially thinking about buying a new graphics card last year, and I waited, and I shouldn't have waited. Now I'm just going to wait with this same graphics card I've had for forever. The free game was, I believe, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, and I'm like, no, not doing it.
I just started playing that.
Is it any good? Because I've just heard nothing but bad things about it.
Well, I'm like in the first hour, and
Okay,
so
okay.
but I do have some complaints right away that are all connected to game mechanics that repeat from other Ubisoft games, like freaking hacking. Like, why am I hacking things in
Okay.
Avatar? This is not Watch Dogs. Stop it, Ubisoft. But the only thing that I really want to experience before I leave this game is to go and get my Ikran so I can fly. Yeah,
Okay.
because I really do love Avatar in general, so I wanted to experience Avatar. But firstly, the game is in first person, which I don't really like. I prefer to see my freaking Navi, but that's another topic. I mean, why not just make this option to switch between the two, like in Skyrim? It's amazing.
Right.
That's actually the best thing that you can do in Avowed, because the game is so dumb, but that is super cool that you can switch between first and third person, just like Skyrim. So yeah.
Warrior Within, that game went so hard. That was on my GameCube. I have fond memories of that game. That's what got me into Godsmack. That was like my first experience with Godsmack. Great game. So Yorch said number 3, the dialogues. How are we supposed to get out of here if we don't start to trust each other? Follow my lead, get ready to flank him. Oh, shut up to a male character, like the horror. It's all about feminist empowerment. Again, he took 4 dialogue lines, 3 of which are normal dialogue lines for any sort of combat tactics co-op game, and put them on there as if they're pointing to feminist empowerment. And then it says the game's villain is a white Caucasian male, same old trope that feminist media loves. And I can't remember who I was watching talk about it, but it's like, you do realize that 65% of society is white in the United States, right? So
Duh.
you're likely to have a white male with a god complex pop up. Wasn't the villain in Far Cry 5 that cultist who started like a cult, and he was just like some white redneck or whatever? Nobody complained about that at all.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the times just gonna be the white guy, but then if they make a black guy the villain, they're gonna say, "Oh my gosh, you're pretending like making black guys being evil or somting." You're now pushing this narrative.
I look at it this way. I mean, one of the 2 main characters is white. The bad guy's white. It evens out. Who cares? I really don't care. You know.
Yeah, by that logic, then use no one and just make a game about balloons.
Yeah, I would just make it a robot or something. Take all the character and personality out of anything, so that way, God forbid, you can't look at it and say that it's woke, right? So this is the thing. Grums has been trying to staple and glue and duct tape everybody back together to prevent the inevitable, anti-woke civil war, which is stupid because, like I said, getting lumped all together was the worst thing that ever happened, because people need to be able to have their own opinion about things. And so Dexerto shared this video where Joseph Ferris reacted to fans calling the game woke, and he said, I don't care what's between your legs. That stuff's boring to me. I made the game I wanted to make because I made one with 2 guys. I made one with a guy and a girl. This one has 2 girls. They're based on my daughters. Super wholesome. Grum said nobody called his game woke or even heard of it. He's doing this for bait. And then you got George down here. Oh, I did. And I even added his feminist slop to March's non-binary list.
Okay.
Just can't even with these people. He can get all the inspiration from where he wants, but the game is being promoted as feminist slop, and my golden rule never fails. if it looks feminist and it talks feminist and it walks feminist, the game is feminist. Plus, the female characters are totally missing the mark in the beauty department. Sure, some may say, oh, come on, this isn't woke, but many of us already developed a sense for wokeness and don't want any of that in games. Anyway, split fiction is non-binary. So again, he's telling you, I don't want to see women in my games who aren't hot, so don't buy this game.
Great. So one person says, I don't want to see any women that are not hot. Melanie Max says, stop with the hotness, damn you. Yeah. So I'm confused. Which message are they trying to push?
Well, we're getting to that conflict again where kind of this is the reason it kind of all ties back to goonergate in a way, which again, it's the most retarded sounding name, but it's what they were calling it because of guys gooning at girls in games being, called bad and perverts and stuff. And it goes back to, are you allowed to have whatever character you want in a game if you're a game designer? If you want to make a game with a character who's not a 10 out of 10, that's okay. As long as it fits the story and the narrative, I don't see a problem with it. Just like how not every movie is going to have a 10 out of 10 if it doesn't fit the story. So they're not pretty enough for me. It's like, okay, in certain situations, like you mentioned, the custodies where you get the woman that looks like a literal man, that makes sense. That's an obvious situation.
Yeah, I mean, literally, if the custodies were women, they would look like a man. But then that's the point. Why would you have women then?
Exactly.
Why don't you just have men? And then, of course, when you dig into the lore, you see that only the most exceptional men from noble families can become custodies. So
exactly,
how is the woman actually qualifying for that? She cannot survive any of these procedures. The Astartes process of creating an Astarte is totally different, but it's similar. So basically, you cannot just overcome the established facts of how are these warriors made. And then now, because we have female custodies in the custodies, women are the most prevalent faction when it comes to warriors in the 40k, which is ridiculous because we have Sisters of Silence, Sisters of Battle, they're entirely women. And before that, we had only, Astartes are only men, and now we have custodies that were previously only men, but now they're mixed. It just doesn't make any freaking sense. And you already have Sisters of Silence that are complementary to the custodies. They're supposed to be next to them, fighting alongside them, and it's making of this beautiful dynamic between the two. But now you also have a woman there sticking like a sore thumb, looking exactly like a man in her armor. So what the heck is the point? They're disrespecting basically the female femininity and everything that makes a woman, but still being like she should be a man and standing right there alongside the man. I mean, what are you trying to do here? You're
exactly. It's trying to make it's trying to destroy femininity while also holding the women up like at the same level as men, even though they had them as equals before in different ways. Hey, speaking of Smash JT, he just raided. Holy crap, dude. Welcome in, everybody. We've been talking about a lot of this Yorch stuff, and Smash, your name came up, but it was all good. Don't worry about that.
Hi to Smash JT. Hi.
No, we were talking about your video and how it pissed off Yorch. Hey, Netflix Sonia. Hey, Hook. Saw some familiar people. Skibbity, how's it going, buddy? And of course, Smash, thank you for jumping in, bud. Yeah, so a lot of this stuff can be boiled down to, like I said, clickbait, just trying to increase Twitter monetization, which, to be honest, that's too much work. When I first started getting like any money at all on Twitter, I'm like, you have to really try hard, like really, really hard to get any traction on Twitter. And it just wasn't worth it. It's like, this is just, you're spending your entire day on social media. It's just stupid.
Yeah, you think YouTube is hard, just try Twitter. I mean, that's why I almost don't engage anything there, because my life is just going to be there. If I try to engage there, I'm just going to lose myself there. Just no use. I better just study YouTube things and trying to be better, and that's it. That's for me is most important,
Right, and Twitter is still fun. It's still useful. Hey, JWatt, thanks for gifting a membership. Much appreciated. It's still useful. It's just, unfortunately, it can't be your entire life. And I find that when my monetization is better, which again, I haven't been paid in like a month and a half on Twitter. Last time I got like $11. It was like, woohoo! That doesn't even cover a gallon of gas. But it's one of those things, like there are people who will chase the Twitter algorithm if they really want to, and those who don't. But this is unfortunately what it kind of boils down to from what I've seen. It's all, without putting it too grotesquely, it's all kind of a circle jerk, right? It's all these people that are all trying to scratch each other's back for clout. And unfortunately, you can see this post from Grums here from yesterday. Yeah, still yesterday. This had to do with, again, the cyber attack on Twitter. We've seen these, there's been a weird attempts on people like from InfoWars Life. One of them got killed. You have Teslas getting destroyed. So there's like this weird anti-Tesla, anti-Elon situation going on. And Grums has been getting noticed by Elon and getting shared around. And so you know that this is a driving force for this guy, even though he has a game that's been in development for 8 years and they don't even have a demo out for it yet. So he said, as of this morning, X is still under attack, unreachable for many. Tesla's under attack. Tesla owners are under attack. None of this is organic. Support X, sign up for Blue. Buy a Tesla. The reason he says these things, and I'm not saying it's not genuine to some extent, but the reason he says those things right there is because he knows those are things that will get him retweeted by Elon. And the more verified followers you have on Twitter, the more money you make from interactions. So it all goes cyclical. It's all one big, it's like one hand washes the other.
Yeah, well, I do have to live with myself. So I also voted porn-based.
Yeah.
In your poll. So yeah.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's tune in on SpaceX launch streams, do what you can to say no to these social terrorists and support real change in the world, trying to destroy the best people. And again, this is the thing that I find. There are people who spend their entire life, their entire identity is to attack Grums. Their entire identity is to attack other YouTubers. Their entire identity is to attack, people who are criticizing their golden children, right? And that just happens.
And there's another thing again where, when you try to call out these things like with Endymion, I mean, a lot of people thought that Endymion was very base.
Right.
And sometimes, for the longest time it seems like that he was, in general, but then when he started doing the same thing that John De La Rose was doing with 40K, then it was extremely noticeable. And then when I try to call that out or whatever John De La Rose is doing, then I get the comments like, hey, rage baiting. I'm like, hey, no, I'm just presenting what the heck is happening. Like, I'm proving that this is not okay and why this is not okay and how you have to think critically. So this is about thinking critically and not going with this flow of sheep mindset, hive mindset, whatever. This is very important to point out. I don't want to attack and not attacking. That's not the goal. The goal is to just be like, hey, you shouldn't be not thinking for yourself. Like, why do you not making a difference between what is objective and what is not? We have to be able to be very objective about those things, because if you're not, we can be manipulated about everything else in life, and politics is one of those things, and that then becomes dangerous after a point. You're growing generation of people's, it's like you're trying to literally grow a generation of people that are going to be then toxic to everyone else and themselves. And
right. It's the hive mindset. And yeah, guys, go follow the 40K Empress. I think I put the link, if it actually went through, in the chat. She is my first official guest on stream. I've never done one of these before, and we actually managed to figure it out without too many hiccups. So
thank you.
Yeah.
I'm super proud.
That sounded like a foghorn.
My alarm went off. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I
have another alarm for getting up at 8:30, so I forgot.
Yeah, we have to give her massive props because she got up extra early just to get on here with me. So big thank you to her. So yeah, like I was saying, the hardest part I have is people who are spending their entire lives running defense for people. The minute you criticize anybody, it's like, oh, you're not on our side anymore. And it's like, well, we can all be collectively more or less of the same mind on a lot of things, but that doesn't mean that we are all lumped into one group think and one side,
Yeah, I mean, again, coming from a totally different country than you, for us, things are still like in 2013, basically, where most people were based and just thought for themselves. Occasionally, like on Facebook, when you go on Facebook and you see somebody defending the new Spider-Man show, and I'm like, what is this?
Exactly. Yeah.
People defending the Spider-Man show crap that has like almost all the characters race swapped, and Spider-Man being this wuss. The hell?
Yeah, no, it's really funny too because a lot of people will look at the Spider-Man show, and that's like the prime. If you want an example of woke, okay, from the animation to race and gender swapping Harry Osborn and Norman Osborn, like the entire thing, it's like this is like the epitome of woke. If you want an example, there you go. This is what there are things that are very easy and obvious to look at and say, these are obvious things that were done for an agenda that you can point to and see, there you go. And it's not just they're going to go, oh, you don't like it because there's a woman in it. It's like, no, that used to literally be a guy, a white guy, a redheaded white guy, and now he's a black girl, you know?
Oh, yeah, when you say redheaded, there's so many characters that were switched to like a black woman. Let's say if they're redheaded, they're just become a black woman because for some reason a redheaded woman should be black. And I always have this joke, like if anyone plays me in a movie someday for any reason, I'm gonna be black.
No,
but you know, it doesn't matter that I'm totally white with blue eyes, you know, coming from Bulgaria and all people there are Slavic. No, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna be black.
It's the ginger side, as they call it, because all the gingers are getting race swapped into black people. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm naturally half blonde, half, half blonde, basically. But yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to be black in the movie.
Yeah, it'll happen. It is really funny, too, because people are pointing out that Miles Morales had a good character in the movie. And my kids did see the Into the Spider-Verse animated film, I believe it was called. And my wife went with them and saw it, and they had generally good things to say about the movie as a whole. But I feel like they intentionally set themselves up for this situation where people are like, no, Miles Morales is Miles Morales and Spider-Man's Spider-Man, because you can't just completely change the character and still say he's Spider-Man. It's like how they've tried to retcon Thor, and I'm not even a big comic book guy, but I know enough that they've tried to retcon Thor from saying Thor is his name to now Thor is his title and anybody can be Thor. Right?
Yeah, my Aunt Lily, my grandma.
Yeah,
my
exactly.
Hey, what the heck? I mean, Thor became a total joke, like in recent movies.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, guys, Bulgaria. Yeah, Eastern European, Bulgarian. Yes.
Yep, I saw somebody guess Spanish, I think, but no, Bulgaria.
Jesus Christ, I'm white bored. I mean, no, I'm normally white. I just look whiter even because of the lights. But yeah.
Hey, I would be whiter than you if I had my lights on, but I keep it nice and like chill in here so that I don't look as pale as I could be. I'm a white American in a very cold state, and I have enough Irish and other things in me that keep me very pale. So.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, I usually stay out of the sun just because it's photo aging, so I don't like to have a tan ever. I prefer to just enjoy my naturally white skin. I mean, and that's just healthy for the skin. So I'm just literally doing this for science.
Whether I choose to or not, I don't actually have the ability to get tan most of the time. So we brought up Grums, and I was talking to you about this before. And like I said, I'm not one of these people that's going to jump on okay, now it's time to throw Grums under the bandwagon train. I have no interest in that. But people are noticing that this game is probably never going to happen. And I could either play Cult Classic Cage's whole video, or we could just kind of jump in at a good spot, I think. The long and the short of it, this game has been in development hell for a long time. And they raised about $600,000 for the game. They were supposed to have a demo by now. They were supposed to have, more than just the website getting revamped by now. And nothing is happening. It's unfortunate. It's one of these situations where Grums probably had every intention to make his game, but it just never really came to fruition. And now he's deflecting from criticism by spending all of his time on Twitter saying, you can't attack me, I'm doing all this for Gamergate,
I hate the race swap of
and there's one particular developer that made similar game all by himself, so...
Yeah, I've played some of those. I've played some really good games that were made by one developer. Justin Davis with the 5 says, I hate the race swap of Snape by HBO. The books describe him repeatedly, and he ain't black. What's next? A pink femme Hulk with a high-pitched lisp. Here's the thing about the Snape race swap, and thanks to the 5, appreciate it. The thing about the Snape race swap is this is J.K. Rowling's own doing. Like, to be fair, this is a situation where if J.K. Rowling wasn't okay with it, she wouldn't do it. So while J.K. Rowling has been very vocal about not having men in women's restrooms and not letting, the trans athletes in sports and stuff. And so people are like, okay, she's based. It's like, no, she's still a very, very liberal, very progressive, very left-wing person.
And I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed by her because she literally said that Snape, not Snape, but Hermione.
Hermione, yeah.
She can be black if she wants, like in the movies. Like she doesn't care. I'm like, what are you doing? You're destroying your own freaking characters. Doesn't make any sense.
This is the situation where it's like she's trying to deflect it to virtue signal by saying, well, she's got curly hair, so she could be black, right?
That's stupid. There's a ton of black white people that have curly hair, like natural curly hair. It's just different type of curly than the black people have.
Yeah. Do I need help with modding? Not if you all behave. I can mod some people later on. I keep forgetting to add more mods. But you guys, as long as everyone's chill, I'm not going to worry too much about it. Somebody starts going crazy, we'll just kick them out. Typically, I don't get too many crazies on here. Anyways, guys, so let's go ahead and play part of this video. Again, I haven't pre-screened it. I feel like we'll kind of jump in here at this point where I can see the post. There was a pornography game, a pornographic game, if you will, a parody game of Ember that actually came out, no pun intended, before Grum's game has even got a demo out. And so there's been a lot of situations about this where Grums has tried to file a trademark dispute, or I guess he couldn't because he didn't trademark it. I don't know. So basically, Grums is now going to have to change the actual name of his game if he doesn't want to have it tied to this porn parody.
Jesus, okay.
Grums himself,
Yeah.
in his Discord, Grums says regarding the Ember porn game on Steam, Steam Legal got back to me and refuses to do anything about it.
Is this playing?
Steam with a...
Yeah, it's really quiet. I'm not sure if you can hear it on your end. I've got the display capture shared, so you should be able to hear. Let me go up here and see if I can turn it up for you.
Okay.
It's playing. I can throw some the closed caption on for you if we can't get the audio for you though, so you can see what they're talking about.
Okay, because I don't hear anything
I'm sorry
yet.
about that. Again, we were bound to have a few bumps along the way here. Long and the short of it, I'm just going to go to this one post right here and read it for you. It says, regarding the Ember porn game on Steam, Steam Legal got back to me and refuses to do anything about it, even though our community group there predates them by years. We never filed an official trademark because we knew we were going to change the name. It's better use of our resources to work on the new name rather than the time and legal expense of going after an old name. That may change in the future. It's a vile attack, and I don't agree with them making the porn parody. First of all, I know that there are YouTubers like Fratango who thinks it's hilarious, and McDizzle and other YouTubers who think it's great. Like I said, I don't have a hate boner for Grums. I just think he needs to finish this game. He says, that may change in the future. It's a vile attack that breaks common law trademarks, and it'll be addressed when the time is right. Again, I don't see this being something he can do anything about due to the fact that in this situation, he has had $600,000 of funding they've been sitting on for 8 years now, and it's just never happening. It's never going to happen, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, and you gotta think, like, is he using those money for himself and not actually working on the game? It's a bit worrying.
Well, my biggest concern, and I've talked about this earlier, is that he's basically given up at this point, even though he doesn't want to say it. Because he's realized that, for lack of a better word, the grift, if you will call it that, is to spend his time on Twitter, sharing things, reposting things, and those things are useful. It's like, I want to be like, those things are useful. Yeah, Soulzen, it's. I think it's been around 8 years. Don't quote me on that. It's been an exceptionally long time, however long it's been. You guys can probably Google it and find out for yourself.
Yeah, it's ridiculous by this point. Starting to getting really, really ridiculous. I mean, how many people are gonna live to see this game?
There are probably people who backed it who have passed away since then. And look, that could happen to anybody. You could get hit by a bus tomorrow, you know?
I know.
But it's just one of those things where I'm like, damn, I cannot imagine waiting that long. Like, I've backed books before that have taken a year to a year and a half to come out because, you know, you have printer issues and art issues and stuff. Star Citizen, anyone? Yeah, there are games that have taken a very long time. So Netflix, they have issued refunds, but it's been one of the situations, and I've been paying attention. This entire stream has been kind of about noticing that there's a lot of collective, like, cult-like behavior where you're not allowed to criticize people on your side. I have seen where people have managed to get refunds from their support for the game, but it's after being kicked out of the Discord, blocked, unblocked. It takes a lot of work apparently. So yeah, it's
My head's gonna spin just from that.
it's a quite a situation. It's not even as complicated. Like if you wanted to go down the John De La Rose rabbit hole, that's a much worse one. I actually had all this stuff brought up that I'm like, just some Google searches, and I'm like, this guy has had such an extensive history. He makes Grums look like harmless by comparison. I can't believe that I was ever connected to him, to be honest.
Well, you didn't know at the beginning, so.
I had my inklings. I had my questions about his character, but like when you start realizing that everything he has ever done has basically pissed people off, burned bridges, stabbed people in the back, all along, like through Comicsgate, through Gamergate, and everything else. The dude is just bad news. And there's this website that people have shared before, and I've found that has basically everything he's been involved in up until the last couple of years. It doesn't even involve anything recently, like with Daniel Acera, the pseudonym that he uses. It doesn't have the gal that he stole the identity from. None of that stuff. It's like, buy my book. Yeah, exactly.
Buy my book after the first 30 seconds of the video. Buy everything.
Yeah. Hell, I even did a few ad reads for him back last year on some of my old videos, and apparently I sold a couple books for him, but I never got paid for that. I should probably hit him up for that and say, where's my money?
Exactly. Don't let him get away with it. You did work.
I don't even care at this point. It's like, fuck it. It's not worth my integrity. It's not worth my I don't want to contact him. I don't even respond. Like I said, he blew up my DMs for 2 days, and after the first day, I just left him on red. I just ignored him. I'm like, I'm not going to block you. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction, but I muted him. I muted John Trent, muted Yorch. I'm like, you guys will not get any interaction from me whatsoever because I'm just not going to play that game. So,
well, when you put it this way, maybe it's more valuable just to ignore the guy.
Yeah, no, it is. He's not that interesting. Unfortunately, he's just that toxic. So, and I don't throw that term out loosely either. I mean, I hate the term toxic. When you hear girls on TikTok talking about toxic gaming culture, it's like, yeah, you just need to toughen up a little bit. You probably think my 9-year-old daughter is toxic, you know?
Yeah, I mean, girls like that just make a lot of bad name for a lot of girls like me. And then people look at me and they're just like, oh, yes, the same. I'm like, what? Did you hear what I have to say first? No? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It gives everyone a bad name. And like I said, it gives the quote-unquote anti-woke a bad name. It gives women a bad name within the space because then a lot of times things get attributed to women where it's like, well, it's not all women, you know? So time is limited. You guys are right.
Not
Life
all
is
women
short.
are freaking, I don't know what is the best word in English for that, but we have a word for women that are extremely like lousy and pretentious and fake, and all of that is basically the equivalent of the word croissant, but in a female form.
Okay, well, hey, that works. That works.
It's just very funny. In my language, it's just very funny. When you say that someone is this type of a thing, which is a key for the word.
Yeah.
And you can call men the same word. It's like men that is the same thing, like super pretentious and pompous.
Exactly.
Ridiculous.
I don't have a Meta PC yet because of the fact that I don't have the money. But it's gonna cost me $3,000 or $4,000 when I finally upgrade to a computer that's worth buying. I am babying my original build at this point for the next year or so until I upgrade my graphics card, and then we'll see from there. I'm gonna get a Meta PC for work though, probably just like the small $1,000 one they have, because I'm so sick of buying like really crappy computers for at work and then they just die after a couple of years.
Yeah, I usually just make my own build every 5 years. Like I pick the best possible parts. I research the heck out of NVIDIA, AMD, everything. And I have to know everything which is better like in the current moment and why is it better and what way is it better, for what is it better. And then I just make the build. So yeah.
It will not be the 50 series. So I'm an AMD guy typically, and my Sapphire Pulse 5600 XT has been very, very good to me. So I'll probably do like a 4900 at some point. So not a 4900. 7900 or somebody was saying, because honestly, like I don't even look at the new cards until they're at least a year old because they're just too freaking expensive. It's just not worth looking at.
Also, they can have some pretty major bugs. I mean, I'm also
Mm,
looking at the new 50 NVIDIA series just to know what they are, but
right.
the bugs are gonna like coming out in the first few months, and you're gonna know. So better wait.
Yeah, 7900. Yeah, so no, actually, I've built 3 computers now. I have 3 PCs in my house that I built because, well, my wife needed a new one because her little all-in-one crapped out, so I had to build that one from spare parts and new parts. My kid's computer crapped out. It was a Lenovo that only made it 2 years, and the graphics card was fried, so I had to. Instead of putting a new graphics card in the same shitty computer, I'm like, I'm using everything that I have and other things that are new and new motherboard and new case. So essentially, I've built 3 computers. I've moved parts around in mine a few times, so it's fun. It's different. It's yes, I want to do Linux for my next PC. Get away from Windows.
Yeah, but also it's best when you build your own PC like from scratch and not rely on any company to make it for you, because it's most of the time it's more expensive and it's not that good, and you can
Yeah,
always like make it better.
you're so long out of the game when it comes to PC gaming. All the new stuff you don't understand. PC building at this point is really not hard. Like, I'm amazed from my computer 5 years ago that I built with no knowledge whatsoever and had people helping me, to the 2 that I've put together on my own now without any help. It's like night and day. Putting computers together are so much easier than it used to be.
Oh yeah, and it's better to just do your research and
Yeah,
not go in a computer store and be like, "Hey, I want a computer," and the guy there asks you like, "Hey, what kind of a computer do you want?" And you say, "Ah, white."
exactly. Oh no, it was great. So I was picking out parts for my wife's PC, and I'm like, okay, what do you want for this? She's like, I don't care. I'm like, well, what about this? I don't care. It's like, basically, I built her the computer that I would have wanted, except I put it in a pink case. And I'm like, I wouldn't want a pink case, but everything else, it's got like the white parts on the inside, and it just looks really cool. So,
Really, I never thought to have like a pink case. My
oh my
case is just
god.
black with the glass on the side. I
Oh
mean,
no, I got her one of those ones. They call it the Thermaltake 300, I think it is. It looks like the drop pod from Helldivers. So it's got the color case on the outside, and then the front 3 panels are at an angle and one flat one across the front. And to get into the computer, if you need to get in quickly, it just pops off really easy. And it's a freaking awesome case. I love it.
awesome, but it's pink, you know.
Oh, it's pink. It's pink. I would never use it myself, but it's better than my computer. My computer is like the ugliest thing. It looks terrible, but I've got stickers all over it. I don't care.
Most importantly, what is inside is like the most important freaking thing.
I say
So
that
yeah,
about myself too. The older I get, it's all about how everything on the inside is working. So,
yeah, inside first, outside second.
well, I think we've kind of touched on just about everything. It's almost midnight here, and I should probably let you go so you can get on with your day. But
Okay, yeah, we got through a lot of stuff. Yeah,
we
it's
did,
great.
we did. And I appreciate you making time for me and actually getting through all this, because I know it was kind of a question mark about how we were going to coordinate, make timing, and all that work. But
It was pretty seamless at the end of the day, so I'm happy.
I'm impressed. I was actually impressed with how easy it was. So, all right, guys, real quick, go check out 40K Empress. Again, I will try to put the link down below. I'm just going to go to your YouTube channel. Let me just grab this real quick so I can just put the exact link down there. Much easier than trying to type it out myself. I am so tired. My God, I have not slept much the last couple days. My wife has had some medical stuff, and she's finally, hopefully, doing better. But we were at the ER till like midnight last night.
Hope it's all better.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too. I took today off from work, and it's like, well, I could probably do tomorrow as well if I needed to, but I really probably shouldn't. So definitely want to try to get back to work tomorrow if I can. All right, guys, I'm dropping a link to 40K Empress down below. Go check out her content. She covers a lot to do with Warhammer and a lot of other stuff going on in the world.
Yeah, more in the future, probably on my gaming channel, I'm going to be covering some of these news there, because on the 40K channel, I have to stay consistent with the 40K stuff. So yeah,
that is very
the
true.
gaming channel is gonna be,
YouTube is
like,
a thing. Consistency is a thing, and I've had that same problem with having 2 channels. It's like, okay, you don't want to mix up your content.
Yeah, because then the algorithm is like, what the heck are you doing? I have to find out about that the hard way, unfortunately.
Yep, exactly. All right, guys, I appreciate all of you hanging. We are going to get out of here. Again, massive thank you. Glad to have you here, Empress. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you, Smash, again, for the raid. Thank you guys for the memberships and for donations. You guys have been awesome. All right, cool. Looks like they are all subbing. Awesome, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And then I'll just let you leave. I'm going to go to stream ending, so I probably won't be able to hear you anyway. So if you just want to leave whenever
Okay.
you're ready, and I'm just going to end the stream.
Okay, guys. So love ya, and until next time, hopefully.
It just cut her off. All right, guys. All right. Well, this was a lot of fun. Wasn't quite expecting Smash to jump in and raid, but this was, I think, a good discussion. Let me know what you guys think about it. I know that we probably have a few people who hate me because I'm not woke enough or too woke or not anti-woke enough. But at the end of the day, I think most people all feel the same way, that we're sick and tired of propaganda in games, and we're just having a little hard time distinguishing between what's woke, what's not, and not having friendly fire in the process. And again, I think that that's only due to a few people, a few bad eggs in the bunch. So just remember, it's okay to have different opinions. I'm not always going to necessarily have the best opinion. You guys probably aren't always going to agree with me, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't be here without you guys, and I do respect all of your opinions. So yeah, thank you guys all for hanging. It's been a lot of fun. It was really nice to have such a big audience for this chat, because it was my first time having a guest on the channel. So the 40K waifu's phone number. You'll have to ask her that. I don't have her phone number. I have my own waifu, who's not in Bulgaria.